This is a very special broadcast from Michael's Roundtable Talk that will include extensive coverage concerning the ongoing battle on this planet to find its way to peace. For the sake of technical clarity, this will be published on YouTube. Those that understand the systems that create the wars in the first place have also understood the solutions will be found by resolving the gross economic conflicts that threaten our very existence. Every single issue of conflict on this planet has its root cause in the lack of individual awareness about the true nature of self, as a spirit essence inhabiting a physical body for the purpose of gaining experience, learning, and evolving toward an unknown potential. Each and every human being on this planet that is aware of their non-physical essence is also aware of the burdens and artificial limitations that are imposed on us all. Awareness of this fact is within each and every person professing to contain a religious belief in adherence with the essence of the messages delivered by your prophets, teachers, masters, by many names. These issues are well known among those that have extended their personal awareness beyond the superficial, the dogma, the mundane acceptance of reality and the meaning of life. In this broadcast, money is the issue. Still, I and those that you will listen to, important movers and shakers in this world, are talking about spiritual issues because they are important. I need only to remind the Christian listeners that the only time the hero of their worship really gets violent is when he chases the money people out of the place of worship. Even in the older version of this book, the reader is admonished not to worship the golden calf, yet they often do their best to make a fortune for themselves on the stock market. It may be a Christian thing to go to war, but I remind you that Jesus was not a Christian. He was just Jesus who became highly self-aware and said and did things that amazed normal people. Remember, he talked about serving others, giving aid, and even to outcasts. Remember, he talked a lot about the power of forgiveness, kindness, and empathy for all mankind. Did he not? It's a Christian thing to go to war to protect a way of life, but do you really think that was what Jesus would have done? All over the world, Western civilization has historically driven its quest for domination of humanity in conflict with peoples of the planet that have had other ways to evolve. We are a planet of people with many races blended together on a spaceship we call Earth. Every race of humans has committed atrocities against each other in the name of domination. Humans have assumed religious and cultural beliefs and warred against each other to defend those cultural foundations. In the end, money has been the instrument of energy to forge the weapons of force for humanity to use against each other. The idea of domination is forged in the idea of competition being the basic rule of natural law, as interpreted from Darwin's evolutionary understanding, known as survival of the fittest or the rule of force. The evolution of mankind's collective thinking around modern political science is based on the idea of mankind removed from nature and the interpretation of the physical universe solely as a mechanical entity or artifact to be consumed. This aberration of human logic has, through the rule of force, enforced these limitations into education, psychology, psychiatry, and of course physics, astronomy, and cosmology in general. Through this filter of proposed knowledge, humanity has become over-specialized, fragmented, compartmentalized into the very basic unnatural state. Many are those that have become highly aware of the conflicts that consume our daily lives and lock our minds into survival mode, automatic routines that regulate our lives with an alarm clock, designed to put you into a state of alert readiness to compete and run the race of life. In order to live this way, we compact our emotions and search for immediate rewards for the work we have done during the day. Nature doesn't work this way. I've never seen birds exchanging money, using banks, or sending houses to each other. Nature doesn't make trash either. Everything is used for something. If you look close enough at every living thing, including yourself, you'll discover that it's composed of cells that only cooperate together, even though they do very different things. They even have an immune defense system that protects from anything that might have the intention to suck life energy from itself. This is known as a germ, a virus, or an invading entity that is feeding off you. When you get these things, your immune system is designed to kill them off. Nature experiences competition as disease, discomfort, resistance, friction, conflict, and death. Humans on Earth have this idea that competition makes things better, even though science knows better than that. Science and common sense knows that cooperation makes things better and competition makes things worse. It's that simple. It's almost too simple for humans to understand. It's taken me many years of experience, analysis, study, writing, and contemplation to see and understand the complexities of modern-day living. I perceive myself as a seeker of knowledge. That's my quest. For me, knowledge is not theory, belief, or conviction, but solid knowing. In order to know, you have to know the outside of things and the inside of things. That's also true with yourself, your life, and your environment. In my life, there has been little room for what I call the comfort zone of stagnation. I think life is always about stretching out for something more in a way of understanding and doing, something hand in hand. There was a time when I was oblivious to global political issues we read about in the news. It was just a part of my environment that I could do nothing about. Today I use the internet for anything I want to do research on. And I can't help but stumble across information of what's known today as false flag terror. It's what happens if one person says or makes it look like another person did it, when it was really them that did it, whatever it might be. Some people call them theories. I call them conspiracies because conspiring is what people do all the time. It's part of the many strategies we have to use in any competition. We make plans on how to win the game. Those plans are secret to the competition, and therefore it's a conspiracy. It's a good linguistic trick of Bush to put the word theory in front of conspiracy, as though it never happens. Some people believe in anything if they hear it often enough. They have lost contact with their own ability to engage their critical thinking and trust the consequences as true to them. People don't trust their feelings because they're packed together in a bag just because of the competition. If you want to follow the trail of power on this planet, an old adage, follow the money, is very true today. This has brought me to Adnan Sakli, who is supposed to be the richest man in the world. That is why he serves as the global underwriter for the world's economy today. His signature is worth its weight in gold, literally. And he is the formal and recognized owner of the Bank of International Settlements. After following the trail of information provided by him and some of the most devoted alternative news sources, we've been able to create an enlarged map of the economic and power landscape, which is getting bigger all the time. A recent addition to this mix is the Black Dragon Society that claims to represent the ownership to the Chinese gold reserves known as Dragon Gold. The reserves are of an unknown size, but rumored to be very immense. The Dragon Society seems to be just another one of the many that are following the same common message. They are all talking about creating a just system of economy for the people of the planet and cleaning up the environmental mess that we find ourselves in by converting to new technologies already perfected that provide adequate, sustainable energy to all. Full disclosure of the truth. These issues are also congruent to my personal agenda. I am, as such, comfortable discussing these issues with these people personally. I have spent the majority of my time learning to understand the nature of the perspectives shared with me by Adnan Sakli. My experiences so far with Adnan is that he gives me adequate proof of intention, ability, scope of knowledge about the global and galactic concerns, and the best interests of humanity as a whole in mind. The existing law is on his side as to the authority he presides. As I see it, that is a fact today. It is also a fact that Mr. Sakli is presently excluded from access to his accounts, which are protected under military control, through the institutional banking screens. The current battle between the economic powers that were and Adnan Sakli is that he will not release his funds to the governments or the central banking institutions or the Catholic Church because they are not serving the people. His intention is to introduce immediate change in the global power structures back to the people while the people that were are trying to maintain control. Behind the scenes, there are players playing players. It is impossible to know who is really true to their intentions until these individuals either meet together and agree on how to start the process, or will somehow take on a new life of its own, perhaps in the courts, perhaps on the streets. Adnan Sakli's position is disputed by some. OPPT is one of these people. Heather from OPPT has talked with Adnan Sakli for a couple of hours. I took part in that conversation and didn't go very far. At this time, I do not see the point in discussing that conversation due to the time frame involved. From the point of view of Adnan Sakli, as well as an increasing number of others, there are problems with the legalities involved. Although the proposed intentions are indeed very supporting of humanity, and it is collecting a great number of awake and aware individuals, they are unable to filter through the complicated legal issues involved. From what I understand, the efforts of Keenan are also stalled by Sakli over the rights of the gold reserves. Another group that is disputing the authority of Adnan Sakli is the Black Dragon Group, of which I really know very little about. The only representative I have contact with is Malik, which is also an acquaintance of Adnan Sakli. They don't agree and therefore have different perspectives of each other, which is understandable. Malik is a person with extensive knowledge of the global economic situation. His ties with economy are something he was born into as a member of the Hughes family. From our team of radio hosts on Michael's Roundtable Talk with Brian and Ken, we have talked together not only with Adnan but also with Malik. In the interest of aligning people with good intentions, we have found reason to listen to what Malik has to say. We realize that we are being provided information that others want us to tell to the world. We believe in the intentions that these people say they believe in. Therefore, we believe in providing room for Malik to enter the discussion with caution and due diligence. I have many questions for Malik, and last night I had a chance to ask some of those questions I have. Ultimately, most of us are simply spectators watching a drama unfold around us when it comes to this level of international affairs. From what I understand, there are people claiming legal rights to that which was stolen from them, which is an argument that can be applied to almost any nation and race on this planet. I do not know the identity of the individuals that are behind what is called the Black Dragon Group. I have therefore no ability to confirm that which is being said is what they mean. Ultimately, you will have to be the judge of that. In the next part, you will hear a conversation with Malik that is 52 minutes long. It starts with a discussion about OPPT and moves into many issues. After that, another conversation between Adnan Sakli, Brian, and myself will be released, where Adnan talks about the recent bombings in Boston and Malik in no uncertain terms. One of two things will happen here. There will either be a battle or a bridge of cooperation formed between these two groups. It is not possible for me to judge the true ability of this group at this time. I have my reservations until I see more real information about who is really able and willing to implement their intentions into actions. In my book, anyone with good intentions will be willing to cooperate in order to achieve those intentions. Those that don't will compete. We are all in on this together, and if we want to live on a better planet with real values that support what is important in life, then everybody should be willing to cooperate. I give that challenge to all the players in the field.